Welcome back. Episode 3 of the Orange and Blue Crew. Myself, my Uncle Al, and my cousin Jai. We are just a few Knicks fans trying to give our little 2 cents here and there. I think we're pretty sensible in our fandom. And I think we got some good takes on what's been a really good season for the New York Knicks. Been a rough stretch leading up to the All-Star break. We're recording this now on Tuesday, February 20th. So we're still in the middle of the All-Star break. Only one game to talk about, which was last week against the Magic. And then we'll just dive into some other things. But we're just gonna start there. That Magic game, I said we've been having a good season, but the injuries really started to pile up. So All-Star break honestly couldn't have come at a better time. We really needed it, and guys needed to rest up. I actually about like 15 or 20 minutes ago, I actually saw a tweet from Ian Begley with like a quick little injury update on Julius Randle. Tibbs said he's working out twice a day, progressing well, hasn't been cleared to practice, but he sounds optimistic that he'll be back. And then he said, quote, I haven't heard anything other than he's been good, making good, steady progress. So hopefully um, our boy Randall can come back sooner than later. I don't think we're in a position where we need to rush him because I think OG is kind of expected back. I think like right within the next like 2 weeks, right? Because they said it was only like 6 weeks after that surgery. I believe was like the maximum time he would miss,
Yeah.
and he got that surgery relatively
It was
quick.
almost immediate. As soon as
Yeah,
he
like
missed
it's
the game, he must have gotten it like the next couple of nights.
yeah, because then he just kept missing
OG.
games. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, OG.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get Randall back soon. But we did have to go into battle once again without him. This time against the Magic, and it was tough. I mean, we started out actually really well. Like that first quarter was great. I think Brunson had like 20 in the first quarter. It was
He
crazy.
did. He
And
did.
then but it just we just looked after that first quarter. We looked like a team that was just dead. And then the Magic low key. I know we didn't talk about. I don't think I mentioned them in our last episode where I talked about teams I wouldn't want to play. I low key wouldn't want to play the Magic because for some reason they do give us fits. I think their length, because like they run lineups where like the shortest guy on the court for them is like 6'8".
Mhm.
And like that gives us trouble. They've given us fits. I think they're up 2-1 on us this
I think
season.
they're
That
undefeated.
last
Have we
game.
beat them?
I think we
I
beat
don't
them
know
once.
that we've beaten.
Oh, we haven't. Oh, I thought we beat them one time because I know we lost to them at home and then we just lost to them again. But I thought we played them again at home and we won. Could be wrong, but
I hate them.
nonetheless, nonetheless, actually, yeah. So we got January 15th we lost to them, and oh wow, actually no. So they actually I believe they swept us because they beat us December 29th. They beat us
Yeah.
January 15th, and then they just
That was
beat
the
us.
last RJ game.
Yeah, and then they just beat us on Valentine's Day. So yeah, I believe we're over against the Magic this year, and that's a team that I definitely wouldn't want to play in the postseason. They would have to shake out kind of weird for it to even get to that point. But yeah, after that first quarter, it was pretty ugly. We just looked like a team that was um, searching, a team that's hurt, a team that's like we looked like a team that needed the All Star break after that first quarter. I don't know what it was that led to that. I guess that's just a product of, we didn't really have a bench unit. Like, once Brunson had to sit for a little bit, and we didn't have Bogdanovich as well. He was out with a calf injury, and then no Hartenstein, no DiVincenzo. It was literally just Brunson and the players. And after Brunson had to sit for a little bit in the second quarter, it got ugly and we never really recovered. Any takeaways for you guys? I know, like, for me personally, I didn't expect to win. I kind of just chalked it up even before the game. I was like, hey, if we win, great. If we lose, expected. So
Yeah. All I gotta say is Jacob Toppin got burned. Jacob Toppin got 17 whole minutes in an NBA basketball game. What exactly does Jacob Toppin do? He's very similar to his brother, although
well,
Obi is
he's
really good
worse.
offensively.
He's his
And
brother,
he's just
but worse.
17 minutes in an NBA basketball game. it is what it is. We had, what do we have? We had one, two, three. We had three NBA level basketball players, or two and a half, right? Because we're going to say Alec Burks needs to we love Alec Burks because he's a Knick, but he's got to get his thing together
Yeah.
for us so
Well,
far.
we had Brunson,
We had Brunson and
Achua.
Hart.
Achua's not NBA level.
Achua, listen, everything we get from Achua is all gravy. We get,
That's just extra. He's not. You
yeah,
don't think
because
he's NBA? I mean,
as soon as Randall comes back, we are never. No, I did see that Tibbs really likes him and really appreciates what he's bringing, and there's some diversity in his skill set, but he just loves Randall too much. He's going to play Randall 78 minutes if he could. It doesn't. I don't even. It's like, just let him sit down for a couple minutes, bro. We'll be all right. Believe it. So yeah,
you know what's funny about how much Tibbs plays Randall is Randall is like I hate when the only thing I hate about Randall. I respect Randall. I appreciate Randall. The only thing I hate is just the walking shit. The walking, like plotting, like my man, like he will, like everyone jumps to like that play against Milwaukee when Brunson shot that shot and Randall got pissed.
oh my God,
But not even that. The low key worse than that is it'll just be like a Wednesday game against like Detroit. And he's just like he'll just like not get the ball on a possession. Everybody's running. Like not even a fast break, but it's just like, even numbers,
right?
fast pace. And he's just jogging.
And Mike Green will be like, Randall still hasn't come down into the half court, into the front court. I mean, where is he?
Yeah, and Tibbs for being, Mr. Heart, hustle, and effort. I don't. That's the only thing. I guess he's just blind to that part of Randall.
He will not say a word to him. Nothing. He loves that guy, and I guess you know what that's what players want. Players just want to be loved. But as far as the Magic are concerned, I will say this though. I'll have the chance to go to a couple of Knicks games. And I specifically picked the Orlando Magic coming up in the next month or so because I want to see them. Every time they've played us, it's been under some weird circumstances to me. Like maybe somebody is out or something's going on. And for some reason, it felt like we played them a million times. I just don't like what is they, Wagner? What are his name?
Franz Wagner or Mo Wagner? They're both off the team.
Listen, and this is why I don't like him. The one guy, Mo, I think it is.
Yeah, Mo's the older one.
This guy screams at the ref like Draymond Green every single play. If you watch when they're playing, every single play he's whining about something. It's just very annoying. He's not that good. And they manufactured an all-star in Paolo Banchero. He did have a great game against us in this game right here. Like he was shooting lights out. I don't know. I think he was like 6 for 6 at one point.
Yeah, he was 15 for 20.
He was 9 for 9 at the peak before he missed. He was
9 for 9 from 3. He was just, I don't know what happened that night. But if you looked at his overall numbers for the season, the guy, I think he's averaging like 21 points a game or something. And it was just like this
23, 7, 5.
Come on.
See, that's
not all-star caliber.
I don't know. P5 is
he's really
at
good.
The time of the all-star selections, he was averaging 21.
21, yeah, right. There you go, Jai.
At the time of the selection, he was averaging
21. I'm biased though because I'm a Duke fan, so I was really high on Paolo coming out of the draft. So I am biased. But like I think you gotta look at it as like, he's the best player on an up-and-coming team. So they kind of gave it to him on that.
Bro.
I still think, I mean,
it's tough though. He as an all-star is a reach. Because that young man as an all-star is a reach. And that's okay. You got to have something going on. And then there's going to be reaches and there are going to be people that got robbed. Fine. But I want to see us, the Knicks, in full form, maybe missing one guy, maybe two guys. I mean, we had literally Josh Hart and a half of Brunson in this game. So.
Well, the last time you played them at Orlando, we had Brunson and we had our rotation was way different. No, Brunson played. Everybody played the first when we lost 117-108, and we had everybody.
Yeah,
In
Except
January.
yeah, and no, that was the
that was
December
December.
game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that was the when we played. We had everybody, but it was the day before we made the trade, and it was when Quickly was getting the odd minutes in the fourth, and we lost. How much did we lose by?
No,
eight
the game,
points.
yeah, the game we lost by 4. That game you're talking about, we lost by 9. We had Randall played, Brunson played, DiVincenzo played. We still had RJ, quickly played. Like we
That
had,
was the problem.
yeah,
If
we
we're
had
gonna be
everybody.
honest, if we're gonna
The
be on the Knicks
RJ
podcast,
started that game
if
like
RJ
one
was
for
out there,
nine.
that was the damn problem.
It was the
I mean, it was a
it was
classic
yeah.
RJ game, 19 points on 17 shots. So
There you go. Like, what are we searching for?
I think he started it horrendously too. It was the breaking point for me. It was horrible. It was really horrible. I was home for that. I was disgusted.
He was horrible. He was listen, and I don't want to kick dirt on him because if we get some people to watch and they are true, diehard Knicks fans, he was our 3 pick. I have been upset about RJ Barrett since draft night, and John can attest to that. I was so sick to my stomach. I literally have told the story of how my conspiracy theory on how the NBA is rigged and they cheated us by giving us RJ Barrett. And I
I'm listening.
I won't take too much time in the podcast unless you want me to tell the story.
Let's save it. Actually, no. I mean, we're on it. Just go ahead.
Are you sure? All right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So here's my quick theory. I'll make it quick. NBA always has something to do with trades. They always, stick their foot into trades somehow. Evidence: Chris Paul going to the Lakers. Why did David Stern have anything to do with that transaction? Why couldn't Chris Paul go to the Lakers? And I think my big problem is I think that the NBA needs parity. They need to make sure that they spread the talent out. So the mid-market teams have to get some sort of preferential treatment. That treatment is the NBA sort of interceding into the business or the affairs of some of these teams. That's just what I truly believe. So I'm not going to tell you all the parts of the story here, but if you take a look at certain things, like obviously LeBron James. When LeBron James leaves Cleveland gets the number 1 pick, I believe 4 times, 3 of them in a row. Number 1 overall, 3 or 4 times in a row, right? Because they gave him a chance. They blew it with the one guy. They got Kyrie. They got
Kyrie, Anthony Bennett, and Wiggins.
See, 3 of them, right? So then you look at New Orleans. They meddled with Chris Paul, but then the NBA paid New Orleans back. How? They get Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis decides, I want to leave. I don't like it down here. It's time for me to go. What happens for the New Orleans Pelicans in the draft that they're discussing? Anthony Davis leaves. The very next season, who gets the number 1 pick? The year that the Knicks tanked, I'm going to use Donald Trump here a little bit. The Knicks tanked perfectly. They did a perfect job of tanking. We were the absolute worst team.
Oh my God.
In the year the league decides, you know what? It's not going to be about the worst team. It's going to be the last 3 worst teams. And so they made.
Oh, right. Yeah. That was
odds,
the first year they made it like the
right?
draft odds. Oh my God.
They changed the draft odds in that season when we perfectly tanked. Then you take a look at the talent pool that's out there. Okay. You have RJ was arguably a good player, but we realized in college, he's not number 1 draft pick. We saw that there was a 2-player draft. It was Zion and Ja Morant. How in the hell do the Knicks get the 3rd pick in that draft? The 3rd pick in a 2-player draft, the Knicks get RJ Barrett. So it wasn't necessarily so much about RJ Barrett, but it was really just me taking a look at, we finally tanked the right way. The organization is moving in the right direction. We know what we want. We get to a 2-player draft. The Knicks come out with the 3rd pick in the draft. And it's RJ Barrett. And then you
also forgot the most important part.
Okay, go ahead. What's that?
Both the Pelicans and the Grizzlies had the same amount of wins, and it was double the amount of wins that the Knicks had.
Exactly. Knicks had, I think, 14 wins. Both of those guys had 17 wins.
33.
These guys have like 30 wins, 28 wins, 29, whatever it was. And they get the number 1 and the number 2 pick, and the Knicks get the 3rd pick. Like, we lost the draft within the draft. And it was like, come on. It's like, come on. How you gonna do it like that? So that's my theory on the NBA robbing the Knicks. Because the Knicks only got the number 1 overall pick once. New Orleans Pelicans got it twice. Cleveland's got it like 14 times, right? Because they had to make up for LeBron leaving. And the Memphis Grizzlies? What? Like a 2 pick?
I'm not saying that's, I mean, what you're saying makes sense. I'm not gonna say nothing. All I will say is though, we wouldn't have Jalen Brunson without the dominoes falling the way they did. So at the end of the day, maybe we had to go through a little more hell and high fire.
Right. Another couple of years. Right. But at least there was some controversy surrounding us getting Brunson too. So it makes me feel a little bit better.
What you got on the Magic game, Jai?
Oh, I wanted to add first 2 other injury updates to what you said. My phone restarted. Hold on, sorry. Tibbs in the same press conference said that Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, and Bogdanovich practiced today, and Mitchell Robinson's boot is off.
Okay, that's good. Because I know, this was like around that time. I think this is the 10th week since Mitch's injury where they said like he'll be reevaluated.
Yeah, yesterday was 10 weeks exactly. So his walking boot is off, and I think Steve Popper said that he's expected to be back mid-March, according to his sources, whoever they may be. But the Orlando Magic game was very frustrating for me, of course, because once again, it's like the Pacers, a team that we've never really gotten to play at full strength. I know we technically did play them at full strength on the 29th, but it was the day before we got one of the best defenders in the league. So I'm not counting that as full strength. So it pretty much stems from the fact that when we played them in January, I think we lost by like 4. And I think after that game, I begun to think I also wouldn't want to see this team in the playoffs. But then I sort of started to realize that they are what we were in 2020 and 2021. They have a great defensive identity. And they have a roster right now that is not going to look the same 2 years from now, because there's a couple guys on here performing at a level that they shouldn't be performing at. And very inconsistent as well. Cole Anthony played really well against us that last game. He's incredibly inconsistent. Mo Wagner is surviving on that team off the strength of his brother. He was a great player.
Mo every like 3 games, he'll get a team for like 27. It's like,
he will.
Where did that come from?
But it's every 3 games. You know, that's not the consistency that's going to get you throughout the season. They were the 2 seed at one point, and now they're in the 6 to 7 6, 7, 8 muddy range right now. So they're a young team. They got a lot of promise, a great defensive identity, and they've got a coach in Jamal Mosley that's looking like he's starting to put the pieces together. But they remind me a lot of the 2021 Knicks in that way. So one thing to note is, like, in our regular season matchups in that season, we destroyed Atlanta every single time. But it came down to experience versus experience. And our roster, the more we look back at it now, the worse it gets. So like, we were starting Reggie Bullock, Alfred Payton, and Nerlens Noel, who none of them are in NBA rotations right now. So, you know, that factor, and paired with the fact that the double on Randall completely crippled our team offensively. So I think now you flip the switch, we are sort of in that zone where we have the more experience. We're prepared for anything, and we're going to know what to do. We've got guys going into their 3rd playoff run with the Knicks, not just their 3rd playoff run in their careers, but their 3rd playoff run with the Knicks. which is well, I guess not a lot of guys anymore, but still guys. So I think that's a big advantage for us. But yeah, just a tough game. Brunson looked incredible. I was really, really grateful that game to be over because I thought someone was going to get injured.
Yeah.
Yes.
Scary.
Yes. But alas, we avoid further collateral damage heading into the All-Star break. But that was the only game last week, so not much else to talk about there. Well, I guess technically, like we had like two because our boy was in the All-Star game. Played all right. I think he had 12 points. Didn't make a ton of threes. He scored 200 points. So you know, that's some unprecedented stuff right there. Brunson was 2 for 9 though. We need to get that up in the All-Star game, man. You gotta hit at least like you gotta shoot like 40 minimum. Like 40 is just kind of like regular, but 2 for 9, you gotta get that up.
Yeah.
Brunson played.
That's first time jitters. We'll give him first time jitters.
Yeah, we'll get it next year. We're going for the MVP.
I was happy he didn't take the Randall approach though. At the beginning, like he was taking the Randall approach. Randall kind of just like
Randall ain't shoot. He didn't
floats around.
Yeah,
He floats around. He's like, lets the guys have fun, and then he'll sit down, talk to his family. But
Yeah.
after a while, Brunson was like, "If I got the ball, I'm gonna shoot."
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Randall won a tween step back in the regular season. He got to All-Star game, and now you don't want to do nothing. All right.
Well, you know how it is, D. You a baller. It's a different. It is a different game in an All-Star game. Like jokers know how to play basketball, but when you're in an All-Star game, you gotta have some crazy stuff with you. And sometimes everybody doesn't have that. You just are you could be a straight basketball player. Like what Brunson does well is he gonna get out there and pivot 9 times in the
game? That's what I made. I made that joke. I was like, because I told my my other 2 friends from Syracuse, they're Knicks fans. I was like, let's just take Brunson's points over just because he's a Knick, and like we should. And and literally my boy was like, "What are we gonna watch him take pivot floater?"
Exactly. Here's your pivot, put it up for an alley-oop or something in the All-Star game. I don't know. Like, what is he get? So this is the part that you guys probably don't remember, but when playing on those video games, everybody had a signature move at one point. And the most famous signature move was like Tom Chambers from the Phoenix Suns. He would just like do a double pump, 2-hand dunk from the free throw line. And it was just ridiculous. And so that's what would Randall's signature move be? Like holding the ball for 9 seconds?
It would just be him doing this.
Right.
Like Carmelo, but like way longer. Because Carmelo used to be high.
Oh, my God.
But then he would go like here and then quick with it. But Randall will he'll catch it at 20. And he might not stop doing this until like 8.
Yeah, it's a long ass time. Like that's what it is. Like, so that's the kind of thing that people are looking at. Like, obviously our signature moves on our superstars are still building. It's still loading.
Yeah, we're working on it. That's where the league rigging against us. We could have had Ja, you know what I mean? So maybe that's it. All comes back to the league being rigged.
That's right.
So yeah, Brunson. Shout out Brunson, the God, for the All-Star appearance, well deserved. And Randall still gets the notch on his accolades. Just obviously, didn't play in the game. So shout out to Randall as well. But let's get into, like I said, we didn't have a ton of Knicks stuff to talk about. But before we go into just some post All-Star break Knicks things, what were y'all guys' thoughts on All-Star weekend? I feel like this All-Star weekend in particular has gotten a lot of discussion, and I feel like every year we've kind of been doing this dance as far as like All-Star weekend and blah blah blah. I think personally, there's been like this societal shift in terms of like how everything is approached, and not even just like in sports, but just like life as a whole. And I feel like the way that life is approached now, and the way that every day, people's day-to-day is approached these days, has trickled into sports, right? I mean, kids don't even playing sports, they don't act the same. Coaches don't coach the same. I remember when I was growing up and Jai, when you were coming up, like there was a bunch of AAU teams, but for the most part, like, somewhere you try to stick it out if you couldn't, go and start one with, your uncle and your boy or whatever, right? But nowadays it's to like the nth degree. Like, hey, wherever it doesn't work out, I'm gonna go somewhere else. No one wants to stick it out. Everyone wants to transfer. And now the things that used to be like cool are like uncool, right? But I feel like the issue. So going through just like Friday through Sunday, the Rising Stars game and the Celebrity game are just kind of like the Celebrity game is whatever. This year they had a bunch of like they add like when I saw the list before I saw like Micah Parsons is playing, I didn't know like 85% of the people in the Celebrity game. Like I remember when Kevin Hart did it like every year for a few years, they would have Kevin Hart, but they would have like some other like people that you knew. Like it would be a good amount of people that you could know. And there was like, the coaches were like, popular actors at the time. So like it was something that like, okay, like I'm not gonna be locked in, but I'll throw it on the TV if I'm home. Like this year, I didn't even think like the thought of watching the Celebrity game never crossed my mind. So that's just whatever. I thought the Celebrity game doesn't matter. The Rising Stars game, I think it's like the format is cool. I don't want to see the G League Ignite. Like they're some of the worst. Like they suck. The G League Ignite players are bad. I think this year the G League Ignite are like
They won
they're
again.
they're like one in whatever. Like and I remember I think
Yeah.
they actually came to Sioux Falls, and I wanted to go because I wanted to see Ron Holland, but I don't think he played. So I was like, all right, screw it. I'm not gonna go to that game. But like get the G League Ignite out of the Rising Stars game or whatever. That's a bunch of baloney. But the Rising Stars game is what it is. Like maybe you'll get like some good moments and the format's cool. But again, I didn't feel too compelled to watch this year. I feel like also just a side note, I do feel like the kind of like prospects, like in terms of like who's 17, 18 are in like a funky place. Like next year with like Cooper Flag and like his class, that class is pretty good, but like not a ton of like this next draft class is kind of very, very weak. But that's a conversation for after the season ends. But then you get to Saturday, right? Saturday is the coup de grace. Saturday is what everybody waits for. The skills challenge is, it is what it is. Like no one's ever gonna sprint. Like even like the most you'll get is like a brisk run. Like even the best players who are going hard, no one's really gonna sprint. You know what I mean? Unless you're offering like money, you'll get what you get. Some guys, they're just really good at it. Like they'll get the pass in the first try, they'll hit the shot in the first try, and they'll do well. Other times, I remember a couple years ago, the Antetokounmpo brothers did it, and they had the worst odds to win. So I just bet on them to win because I was like, well, I know they're gonna go hard, and they won. So like that was cool. But like the skills challenges is kind of whatever. Like I remember when they added it, I was just like, all right, cool. Do they still do that like hot shots thing? Do they do that this year?
I don't
Oh, like
know.
yeah, at different points on the floor.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they did some of that. Because Tyrese Halliburton, I saw in a video, made the half court shot. It was like
Okay.
the Pacers all competed together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was Tyrese, Mathurin, and Miles Turner. Yeah. So like, that's cool. I liked when they used to do it where they had like a legend play. Like I remember Charles Barkley did it.
Yes.
I wish they
Yeah.
would do that again. I think they just made it like kind of current players. But yeah, no, I like that event's kind of whatever. But then you get to the 3-point shootout. Now the 3-point contest has picked up in popularity this in like the last 3-4 years, just because with Steph and the amount of threes that everybody takes, the depth, like people shooting deep threes, like that's really kicked up. So everybody really locks in on the 3-point contest. And guys take it seriously. I mean, it gets hard to fake shooting a three. Like if you go out there and you BS it, you're gonna stink and no and like you so you literally can't fake it.
Yeah.
So that one's always good. The Steph versus Sabrina thing was really cool. I think Kenny was kind of being a little whack when he was saying some things about Sabrina that were just kind of like, all right, bro, like relax, like it's just a fun event. I do think though they really set the table for. I think they can make a format where they do 8 NBA players 8 WNBA players. They play down to a champion, and then the champions play against each other like a final round. I
Of
think
what? Just
I
3-point shooting?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that could be I think that could be great. Like you take the 8 shooters who want to do it in the NBA, the 8 shooters who want to do it in the WNBA, and you could do a whole blow it up. Because especially if at some point they get rid of the dunk contest, you got a bunch of extra time. Throw in the women, and it's not like the 3-point contest takes that long anyway. Like I know it's like minute rounds, but like who cares how long it goes? I know Turner Sports got money; they can pay for an extra hour on the
Yeah.
air. You know, the NBA can pay for an extra hour on the air. I think that would be great. I think the
Yeah.
Steph Sabrina thing was awesome, and especially since Steph didn't like. I mean, I didn't think he was gonna blow her out, but since it was like a 3-point, like he only won 29-26, I think that's more incentive to just like keep doing it. So I think that was great. But the dunk contest was. I want your guys' thoughts on this because I've been seeing a lot of discourse about LeBron ruined the dunk contest, or the judges were really bad. First of all, I just want to put it out there: LeBron did not ruin the dunk contest
No way.
because the dunk contest is as good as the dunks. So if the dunks suck, the dunk contest sucks. Like the best dunk contest ever, in my opinion, and I feel like you can kind of just stamp it, was between Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine. Are
That was
either of them Hall of Famers? Or either of them NBA top 75? No.
very good dunk contest. Not the greatest dunk contest of all time.
You don't think what would you put like
You guys, you I don't know if
oh
you were
03 or
born.
oh
Were you born
02?
yet? You weren't born yet.
Yeah, what was
Michael
it? The one with
Jordan.
that
Michael
one?
Jordan went against Dominique Wilkins in the slam dunk contest, bro. That was incredible. You gotta watch that one on YouTube.
Yeah,
Dominique
but
Wilkins. There's still people that believe Dominique Wilkins won that dunk contest, and even a lot of people don't know Dominique Wilkins because of because of the area he played in. But my God, you know about Duncan? My man used to do a tomahawk dunk where he brings the ball all the way down in between his legs and then comes back up here and dunks the ball. It's incredible. Dominique was nasty. So I gotta represent for the old guys on that one.
that's
But
fine. I just
you're
feel
right.
like
Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, they robbed Aaron Gordon in that one.
I don't know. He's between the legs from the free throw line. It's like
Well, it looks so basic because Jordan did it already.
between the legs.
He didn't do
Between the
that.
legs.
Between the legs. Like, listen, it's one thing to jump from the free throw line and just
Right.
tomahawk it. It's a whole nother animal to between the legs, and he did it clean. It wasn't like he
He
just
was
barely
clean. It was
moved it.
so easy.
He
Maybe
like
that was the
threw it with
problem. It
some
just
power.
looked so easy.
He made it look easy.
But
right?
this guy, Aaron Gordon, went underneath his butt over an animal, and then like, what the? How do you not get this guy that dunk? I don't know. Yeah,
It was good
that
though, but
very
that's my point is that like the dunk contests are only as memorable as the dunks.
Yeah.
So like people who say like, oh, LeBron ruined the dunk contest by not doing it. No, he didn't. First of all, no, he didn't. But second of all, I have no confidence that LeBron would even be a good dunk contest dunker because his dunks are just he's a game dunker. Like people say, oh, Vince Carter was a game dunker, but like in a different way. Like Vince Carter was like jumping around people and like contorting his body and still dunking. And like LeBron does that, but he's still just so overpowering. He doesn't need to. He'll literally just put his body on you and dunk over you. But Vince Carter, like Kobe, were like, squeezing between people and still dunking, right? Like it's
I think you bring a
kind
great
of
point
thing.
because you're bringing up a great point because I was going to talk about this for the 3-point contest. Sometimes guys enter the 3-point contest, but they're not 3-point contest shooters. You have to be a marksman to be in the 3-point contest. Perfect example, there are certain guys that are scorers in the NBA. Back in the day, we had Mitch Richmond, used to play for the Golden State Warriors. It was Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin. Mitch Richmond could score, and he played for Sacramento. He might score 1 million points. Can't get in a 3-point contest. He's not going to make no threes. It's just not going to happen. And that's what you saw with Randall. Like Randall in a game, he's going to give you about 4 threes in a game. Not going to get you 28 threes shooting 3-pointers from the 3-point line. It's not going to happen. It's just ridiculous. Jalen Brown, moving over to the dunk contest. Not a dunk contest dunker. In the game, will he dunk on you? Will he dunk very hard where it looks amazing like Michael Finley? You guys remember Michael Finley?
Yeah, on the
Michael
Mavs.
Finley from the Dallas
Mavs,
Mavericks?
Spurs, yeah.
Man, that joker used to punch. I mean, his dunks were like Jeff Green nowadays. Like if every once in a while, watch a Jeff Green game, and this joker will come down the lane and dunk it so hard it'll make you like, who the hell is that?
Oh no. And Jeff Green's good for catching a body. Like every
Right?
week he'll get one, and it's like,
Jeff
whoa.
Green's dunks are hard. And so I think that's what the problem was. Jalen Brown getting himself into that dunk contest was probably the worst thing he ever did in his career.
I mean, I respect him for going out on a limb and being. I mean, he's a $300 million guy, and most of the guys that do the dunk contest are. I give him A for F or like a respect for the sticking his neck out. But I mean, he's not a dunk contest dunker.
Oh, he's a hard dunker in the game. Stay your butt home, bro. Just be on the sideline.
But yeah, I'm not I just think the dunk contest, like the dunk contest can still be good. Guys just have to do better dunks. Like if guys do whack dunks, the dunk contest is gonna suck. If they do sick dunks, they'll do sick dunks. But it's tough because guys also only get but so much time to prepare. Like some of the dunks, like you ever see like those pro dunkers, or like remember when TNT used to do that show with like all those pro dunkers.
Yes.
Yeah, like those guys literally do that every day. Like, but that's what you have to do some of these dunks. Is they're doing these dunks like 100 times a day. An NBA player is gonna find out like a month before, in the middle of a season, that he's doing the dunk contest, and he'll maybe devote like 30 minutes to it after practice or before practice. Like it's not feasible to expect guys to be doing some of that stuff. So that's kind of like the issue. But those are my thoughts on those dates. Then Sunday, the All-Star game, and I'll keep it short because I feel like I've been talking a lot. But Sunday, the All-Star game itself is like, look, man, I think we gotta remove ourselves from the shackles of nostalgia in certain things. Do we wish that all the best players in the NBA would come together and agree that we're going to play a game that might end like 103 to 101? Sure, we would all love that. But at the end of the day, look, man, these guys, like, I don't think people realize that it's just a different time where guys are approaching the way they care for their bodies different. Like, so what? Like Stephon Marbury and Allen Iverson and Kobe maybe didn't care about how many days they got off. They just wanted to play. But now we live in an era where science has kind of told us like, okay, well, hey, if you want to make this push in the remaining 30 games or whatever, you should probably take it easy for like a few days. Hey, look, guys are just gonna listen to that. That's just the way it is. I don't mind personally watching guys shoot crazy threes. Does it get a little egregious sometimes? I'd say yeah. Like, does it get a little wild? Like Luka's shooting from 3/4 court. Like that's just kind of like that's the equivalent of like mooning the fans. Like I would have rather he just moon the fans than shoot a 3/4 court shot from the other free throw line. But like to complain about it every year, it's got to get tiring. And also like basketball is a game that you can kind of just skate by and it doesn't look the worst. Like, hey, I'm BSing, but I made a 40-foot three. Like you can kind of get by on that. Like, shoot, the NFL plays a flag football game. Like, you know what I mean? Like it is what it just is what it is. If you don't want to watch, don't watch. There's still gonna be people that watch. There's people like me who will have it on the background and I'll be looking at it while I'm playing PlayStation. So it is what it is. Obviously the best All-Star game is baseball because you quite literally can't fake baseball because if you're a pitcher and you try to just lob it in, someone's taking you 450 dead center. So like baseball is always going to have, the best game. I never really watched hockey All-Star weekend. I did watch the skills events, but I didn't really watch the games. I don't know how hard they go. I assume they all go hard because like most of them are Russian and like making like $100,000 a year. So like they got to go hard. No disrespect to the Russians in the NHL, but yeah, I've been yapping for too long. Y'all say something.
I was having an idea as you guys were talking about what the issue is with the NBA because you guys were talking about stuff I had no idea what was going on because I missed a couple of the days of All-Star Weekend. I watched a couple of the events, and I knew there was going to be a problem when I turned into the celebrity game. When I tuned into the celebrity game, and the court was lit up, and they were showing graphics on the court, and the names were circling the people as they were talking about them, and there were like I don't know, like animated characters on the court as the game was happening. And what started to happen is I started to realize Adam Silver has a really he has a bad issue. It's like there's no one's checking him. He's the rare breed, rare mix of an ideas guy and an executor, to where everything he wants to happen happens. And so far, I feel like that hasn't been a good thing for anybody, because this season we've had an in-season tournament that we
That
don't
was
really
great though.
remember.
I disagree. I thought that was great. I thought the
I
in-season
just
tournament
feel like it
actually
was
worked
too
well.
early. It
That's
worked
my
well.
only that's my only gripe, is that it's too early. So then like once it ended, there was a stretch of games where like it was a little like, all right, everybody's getting blown out and it's kind of
You don't
sucky.
even know what the hell's going on after it
It was
ended.
too
Like,
early. And guys were playing hard, and now we're looking at like it wasn't just the Knicks that were riddled with injuries. It's like everybody started to go down. Everybody started to take their rest days leading up to All-Star Weekend.
yeah.
And guys are pretty much hobbling to the finish line because they were incentivized, they were pressured to go really hard in November and December. And I feel like now it's
Knicks and the
cheating us
Pacers
from,
individually pay for that.
Well,
yeah,
I think a
it's
lot of
get
that also boils down to how teams practice. According to a lot of coaches and players, teams don't really practice the same as they used to. So when you're not practicing hard, you're not used to the wear. Like a lot of it is like I said, I said the whole thing about science, but at the end of the day, like the human body, if you just put it through that stress enough repeatedly, it adapts. So I think there's like kind of like that push and pull, you know.
So
mhm.
what else from the in season? After in season, what else?
Just like I mean, we doing East versus West. We get rid of the target score. We get rid of resetting the score every
That was random. I didn't even know they
once in
did
a
that.
while. Yeah, I didn't. That's what I was explaining to my roommate what was going on, and then I realized the second quarter starts and the score is the same. We're changing. I think the addition of the Steph versus Sabrina was great. Um, but they didn't really give her good guidelines of what she could do. Like I think they weren't. I don't know. When this thing was announced, they said she would be using the WNBA ball and she'd be shooting from WNBA. What's it called?
Range.
WNBA
Distance.
range. I think she shot from NBA range just using an NBA
She
ball or
did. Yeah,
WNBA ball.
she shot from NBA range this time. Yeah, it was a great contest. I feel like it was the only good thing that happened. The dunk contest format changed at the beginning of Adam Silver's sort of, I don't know, regime. Um, and I just feel like it took all the sauce out of it. I enjoyed Aaron Gordon versus Zach LaVine, but it didn't have the juice. It didn't have the sauce of like the ones I remember when I was a kid. It just like, people get really excited looking at the highlights from that dunk contest, but they aren't as exciting. They aren't as fun. They aren't as funny as they used to be, like during the Dwight Howard, Nate Robinson days. So,
But the
um,
problem is they added the clock. The clock makes it so like you can do something cool, but you only got a couple minutes. And if you want to do something like wild, you might need more than a couple minutes. So,
yeah,
I think they should get rid of like it used to be attempts, right? But they made it time, and the time kind of makes it weird.
yeah. So it's too much going on. I think simplicity is best when it comes to the NBA. I think I think that's something they're going to learn this um, from this All-Star weekend, because I feel like he's built a house of cards of just additions, 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 additions. And I think everything that could have went wrong this weekend.
So you saying he's throwing darts at a dartboard, and wherever it lands,
Yeah,
we just trying it.
yeah. It's just we've tested in a full circle to where it's just the whole weekend is a test.
My only pushback though is that I think commissioners take a lot of heat because they don't. It's not like commissioners do stuff and it's only their like they're an employee. Like they're like the owners of the teams are literally called governors. So like I would only say in response to that like I doubt that there aren't a group of owners who weren't like super gung ho about a lot of the stuff that the NBA's gotten done. Like at the end of the day, they got to approve it because if the team owners are like no, then it doesn't matter what Adam Silver wants because it's not like he had like I think he has a veto on like what like player stuff. Like if the owners decide this is what we want to do and they get a majority or 2/3 or whatever it is, then Silver's just got to be the face of it and face the fire. But like I guarantee you. I mean, have you met Mark Cuban? Or have you seen Mark Cuban? I guarantee Mark Cuban was probably like, let's light the court up. Or shoot, James Dolan probably like, oh, light up court? Hell yeah. I can bring all my little strippers and cocaine to where was it? Indiana, and we can have a great time.
But I think you both are saying similar things, or that it shakes out into the same way because the NBA owners, there is a significant revenue opportunity during the All-Star break. So the owners are like, the owners are probably pressuring David Stern, Adam Silver to come up with something. And so your phrasing of it as, just this sort of trying out all these things could be exactly that. Like the board of governors are like, look, we need something new. We need this All-Star game to be fixed. And then it's like, all right, but the process has always just been us in a vacuum deciding on what we think would work and then putting it out year after year. Why not just look, we need a few things. Let's just try them all and rate them and see what works. And then we'll work from there. And because you're right. Like all of this stuff happening at the same time, it's like, it's like hockey putting the damn the tracer on the hockey puck on the game on Fox or changing baseball, right? Slowing down or minimizing the amount of time that the pitcher has on the mound. So there's a lot of different things that are going on, but it might just be basketball's time to just try some new things to move into the next phase. And hopefully we will see less of this change. Like
we gotta get away from the light up courts, man. We gotta get back. Like everything these days is too modern art and lights and pew pew, bro. The best jerseys that everyone likes is like all the classic stuff and all the vintage.
Nobody likes all of this other stuff.
All this lights and mumbo jumbo. Get it out of here. Let's get
also,
back to
they're trying too hard with the small markets. I think that's one of the biggest things Adam Silver has gone on with. We spent the last 3 weekends in Utah, Cleveland, and Indiana. Like there's there's Fat Joe sitting front and center at the All-Star game. That's the best celebrity we got is Fat Joe. I just don't know. Who's going to Indianapolis?
2020 was probably the last like really like fun.
Yeah, it was a good weekend.
And that was in what, Chicago?
I don't remember.
I think it was in Chicago.
It was Chicago?
It was either Chicago or LA. It was one of the two. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. This should just be like a four team. There should be a 5-year cycle where you got 4 in one of the major markets, and then that 5th one, a small market team gets their little, here you go.
Or do like the Rising Star Challenge. Oh, we're switching back over to Seattle. Like I don't the whole weekend doesn't have to be in a small market town.
You're right. D, it was Chicago.
Yeah.
And that was the year that LeBron and Giannis picked teams. That was a great format.
Yeah.
But they changed that 3 years in a row. 3 years ago, they did it virtual. Last year, they did it in person. This year, they got rid of the draft. Like just stick with something. Yeah. One thing.
Yeah, we can't keep changing it every 2-3 years. But All-Star weekend, it's come and gone. It is what it is. It'll probably, unless something drastic happens, it'll probably never be like it was when we were younger, all of us, even you, Uncle Al. But it is what it is. Yeah. So I just wanted to finish up this episode asking y'all, what do you like? What do you want to see? I think we have 26 games left. 27. Yeah, 27 games left. What do we want to see to close out the year? What do we want to see coming out of the break? What do we want to see as the Knicks traverse this back, 2/3 of the year? Because we've been through a lot. we're still traversing the injury train, and I'm sure one way or another we'll get right. But what do you guys specifically want to see? What would be considered a win? Let's say from these first 2 weeks, what's considered a win for you guys for the Knicks?
Jai, you go.
First 2 weeks, we have a really tough 10-game stretch. We've got a lot of tough teams we got to play. I think we only get one break with the Pistons. So I want the team to go. I don't even want 6-4. I want 5-5. Keep us at 10 games above 500. Because those 10 games, I don't know. I'm just get us to a point where we're going to stay at a good level until Randall and OG come back. Then the rest, the rest will be great. We'll be full strength. But yeah, that's really all I'm looking for is in these next 10 games. I think they're going to be very challenging. I don't want it to be a slide. I don't want to slide down the rankings in these next 10.
Yeah.
First game's against the Sixers.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're not playing so terribly without MB. And then they got some with Buddy Hield
and Lowry.
Yeah. And Kyle Lowry. So what do I want from the Knicks this season? For the end of the season. So for I think there's a silver lining in this injury news. We got a chance to let Isaiah Hartenstein rest his Achilles. And hopefully it doesn't go to the point where he's going to hurt something later on. But we're here at later on, right? So then you get a chance to, even if we get a chance to see if Mitch can come back, I'd like to see Mitch make it back. Over the last part of the season, though, I think the silver lining is that we get a chance to see the second tier of our team come together and gel and get some wins, because you have enough of a core back, minus Randall and OG, where Randall can just sit out. If you take in the 10,000-foot view of this, Randall out allows us to just be this team that is just scrappy and, exciting in terms of scoring, from jump shooting and threes and this and Brunson. And Brunson gets a chance to just be the guy, while now we get a chance to see Bogdanovich develop into whatever he's going to be for the Knicks. We get a chance to see Alec Burks pull himself together and be whatever he's going to be for the Knicks. And they all have space and room to operate, with Precious being the Randall for the team. So so that's what I'd like to see, because Randall is basically plug and play. When Randall comes back, we saw it a million times. Like Randall, what was it? Last season, he was leading the league in first quarter points. He started off this season terribly, but he's not shooting the ball in the first quarter. It doesn't mean he doesn't need to be that focal first option. And this is giving us a chance to see a team develop with Brunson as the first option, taking the focus away from Randall, which is going to do us benefit in the playoffs. That's the way I see it. Because that when Randall comes back, you're still going to have that attention, but now you're going to have to double team Randall when he works himself back into the system. But now you can come off the bench with the Hartenstein with big minutes. You can put Precious with big minutes. You might get Mitch back in the playoffs with big minutes. We're still going to need Randall scoring, but we're going to give him some time to work himself back in. And he's got a right shoulder injury, so he's going to ramp up quick when he makes it back. I'm really excited about seeing the other parts of our team gel, which I think is really going to happen over these next games. And we'll get some big wins. Like we might get one with Philly. We got Philly a couple of times. We'll take 2 off Brooklyn. That I really would have liked to have seen us go into Boston full to see going into the playoffs, to just get that one win back. But then OG's going to come back before Randall. And I'm telling you, it's just going to be just like a plug and play when Randall comes back. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with the Randall aspect, because I do think he's not a guy that, like, Randall is really good at this year, I think, because of how he's changed, like his shot selection. He's not a guy, you don't have to run a ton of plays for Randall like you used to, Like you used to have to run. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but like the first set every game that we run, at least when we had RJ, I think we still do it just with Dante. It's a 3-man kind of like Brunson will get it. He'll
Mhm.
pass to the wing, he'll cut, and then Randall will come up, he'll get it, and then Brunson will come back, and they just kind of like rotate, and whoever feels like they want to go, they just kind of
Yeah.
go, and we
Like
run
as
that
a
action.
3-man weave at the top of the key.
Yeah, like on the on the
Yeah.
on our side, like on the left wing or the right wing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Randall's that guy where like he'll just kind of he doesn't need to get plays ran for him anymore. I think with how he's been playing, he can get, second chance points, he can get dump offs, he can get, catch at the free throw line on the flash and just, make something happen out of the high post as opposed to operating from like, 25 to 30 feet. So I agree with that. I just want to see kind of like Jai. I just want to see us, as long as we can stay 10 over 500. I don't want to see a collapse. The last thing I want to see is, an 8-game losing streak. I don't think that we've shown that that's something that we are on the verge of doing. Like obviously, not playing great, but that just comes with. I mean, we just don't have the horses. But that's the last. Like we just avoid a super long losing streak. We do that, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Stay above 10 games over and avoid the play-in. Like there's a real possibility that, just with the injuries and stuff that we could lose enough games to, possibly end up in the play-in game. And that's the last thing I want. I do not want to end up in the play-in and end up having to fight for our lives. Don't drop below the 6 seed. Keep doing what we're doing. And hopefully, as guys come back, then we'll really get to see. Like I'm really excited to see us at full strength. Like us at full strength, I don't see. There's the only team I really think gives us any trouble is Boston. I think we are at worst at full strength, the second best team in the Eastern Conference, and I just really, really want to see it happen. Does anyone know what happened with the Houston Rockets dispute? Like, does the All-Star break impact that? Like, are they just kind
I
of
think it
waiting?
might have. I don't because it's been more than
Because it's
five
been like
days.
more than 5 days, yeah, and I
Um,
haven't heard anything.
yeah. So I think that some people were thinking that maybe they just want the games to get started so that they could go ahead say
Hide
that
it
it
in.
didn't go through. Yeah, they could just hide it in. Um, but yeah, there's no updates whatsoever.
Okay,
Adam
yeah.
Silver's too busy showing NBA AI. So
Because because I was this whole weekend I was like, yo, it's been more than 5 days. Where like we're supposed to know something, but I don't know if like the All-Star break is like kind of like when you say when you order something and they say you're gonna get it in 5 to 7 business days. Like
yeah.
does the All-Star break count as the weekend and like we don't
Mhm.
get any update? So I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting to get screwed anyway. Like that was like the further removed we get from that game, the more and more I just think that is one of the worst ways I've seen a team win a basketball game.
Yeah.
Um,
They
but
were.
it is what it is. It is
Yeah.
what it is. I can't even pretend to be shocked when the Knicks get screwed by the NBA these days. But I am excited, man. We're just in 2 more days, we'll get Knicks basketball back, and all will be right in the world. Because lately, I've been coming home from the gym, and I don't know what to do. Like even just like even like just the NBA as a whole. Like I come home from the gym, I eat dinner, or I'll cook, and I'll throw on a game. Like if the Knicks aren't playing, I'll throw on whatever is the primetime game or whatever player. If there's no primetime game, like I'll throw on whatever player I like and I'll watch that game. But I come home and I'm just like, damn, what do I do? So I just been playing a lot of 2K, trying to get my two-way diming 3-level threat up. We're working on that.
I
But
forgot to mention, I want the Knicks to. I feel like we haven't looked good since the deadline. Like I feel like there hasn't been a full game where we've looked good.
it's
So we
Perk's
haven't been
fault.
healthy.
Perk
Yeah,
started
yeah,
gassing us up, and he said Knicks are contenders, and then everyone's body is just like, slow
Mhm.
yeah,
down.
Hold on, then. Hold on.
yeah.
Well,
I just
shout
want to
out Perk
see.
though. Respect to Perk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
want to see a good Bogdanovich game. I know they're
Yes.
coming later on. I just definitely want to see a good one. And I just want to see, I just want to see that the coaching changes after this All-Star break. I think that Burks and Bogdanovich both had carte blanche and they just do whatever they wanted in those games that we played just to showcase what they had. But I want to see a more focused attack plan.
Yeah.
With
You ever think
those
about how
two.
crazy that is that a guy will get traded mid-season and you got to go from like a
Move
whole
your whole
playbook.
life. Yeah.
Well, not even just that though. Like just on the court, like you got to go from like say one team calls flash horns, and then you go to the Knicks and we maybe run similar action, but it's called something else, or we won't even run that action. We run something completely different. Like, and you just gotta because you can't play that same day or the first game or whatever. But then the next game, it's just like I've only practiced like twice because these dudes had a game the other night, so I didn't even get to learn anything. That's crazy to me. That's crazy.
They're professionals. That's what they do.
Yeah, I wish I could.
They also get a good incentive in millions. So
yeah. So it's like, hey, listen, you better learn something. You ain't coming here to jerk around. But that'll do it for this one. This is a little bit of a shorter one, maybe a little under an hour, but good episode. I'm really liking where we're at, guys. This has been real fun, and I'm hoping that people watching, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the people that see this, they appreciate some Knicks fans who I think we're pretty even keel. Like we have our homer moments and we have our moments of criticism, and that's the way I think fans should be instead of just being homers all the time. Now, do I have my moments of irrationality? Yes, but I save those for behind closed doors. Right. But that'll do it for episode 3. Thank you everyone who's been watching. If you're new, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Just keep supporting. And if you're not supporting, we're gonna find you because the train's not stopping. The train is not stopping. Any last words from you guys?
Yeah, we're gonna find you and mention you on the show and let everybody like
yeah, we'll put your But yeah, that'll do it for now. Catch y'all next time. Appreciate you for watching. Orange and blue skies, baby. I don't have no orange and blue, but my lights are. Hold on.